Good morning, Samoa! I should really double check those time zones still line up. And welcome to Star Trek TOS, Episode 6, or as real fans know it, Episode 3, Mud's Women. I was about to say Where Today, but no, I haven't done a video where I saw Where Today in ages. But yeah, today we're going to be watching Mud's Women, the third episode of TOS produced. It'll just me today. Alex isn't joining, because it's Mud's Women, I assume. I don't know.
If I had to choose between Mud's Women or Spock, I'd choose Spock every time.
Yeah, I don't know who joined me for Mud's Women, but of course you've made the amazing decision to join me today to watch Mud's Women. An episode... Oh, wait, no, yeah, sorry, I have to start with the rules. Yeah, if you don't know what's happening, this is a watch-along for legal reasons. I cannot just stream... a whole episode of TOS. So what we do is, if I get it up here, watch this. Bam! Look how fancy we are today. We're gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And on go, we're all gonna hit play. There's a link to the episode in the description on Paramount Plus, or if you own it, this is just a rip of a Blu-ray I have. So yeah, bring your own episode, but now I'm gonna ramble a bit so you can get set up on that. Yeah, Mud's Women is an episode in my classic watch order guide, the revised new one released earlier this week, and that's gone pretty well. People seem happy with it, but in the original, the classic watch order guide, I called Mud's Women the most sexist that the original series would ever get. And I was actually... That seemed to be a somewhat controversial take. I didn't expect that to be divisive. Or I got a disproportionately large amount of sexists in the comments for that video, but I'm not sure. I don't think so, because it's an interesting episode that I'll stand by. At least from memory, it's the most sexist it gets. It definitely is very sexist, but it's also got this kind of weird, progressive message in its own kind of 1960s way. It's a very strange mix. It's kind of very Star Trek that the old sexist episode is itself kind of progressive from a certain point of view. It's very strange. We'll get into it. But that's something I think I'll probably talk about as we go through the episode. But all of my 0 concurrent viewers are probably ready now. Everyone in the video, the recording, whatever, is probably ready. We're all going to enjoy the fact that my arm goes in front of the timer. How does that happen? Nobody knows. Nobody can match my skills in... I won't even say what program I use, but it rhymes with Schmodo Pop.
Isn't it OBS?
To stream, yeah, but to get that arm working.
Isn't it Photoshop?
No, it rhymes with Schmodo Pop, but I won't tell what it is.
I mean, Photoshop's used, I would call using Clip Paint Studio photoshopping something.
No.
Which Photoshop actually hates.
All right.
Because that means when people use it as a verb, they can't copyright the name.
It's countdown time. Where's my timer? Oh yeah, I'm watching... I don't think it really matters for... Actually, it does matter a lot for Mud's Women, but I'm watching the remastered version. It doesn't matter if you're watching the original, but it matters because Mud's ship is different in the remastered. I don't actually remember what he has in the original. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Didn't we watch the original?
No, we watched the remastered.
Why didn't we watch the original?
You should see the Enterprise flying through a poorly done green screen someday, and then
I think that's hilarious.
I'll show you
afterwards.
afterwards.
I find old films where it's very obvious it's green screen hilarious.
In Doctor Who, they have a bunch of practical effects that's interesting. It's kind of fun to watch how they did it.
Nathan, my favorite movies used to be the Teen Beach movies, which if you don't know what those are, it's just a bunch of random plots happening with the same core cast, but my favorite thing about them is the surfing parts where it's very shittily done.
There are pros and cons. I grew up with the remastered. I like I like the physical models, but I just think I prefer the remastered. There's pros and cons, but yeah. Where's my timer? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year.
That didn't work. I hit play and then it counted as a double click. So stop it. Rewind. Everyone rewind. We're off to a great start.
It's 2022.
Hang on. We're off to a great start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Happy New Year.
What the it does work. Does spacebar work? Oh god. Okay, I don't know. No.
5,
okay.
4, 3.
Maybe you should go to like 5 seconds and hit pause, and then eventually I'll get to 5 seconds and you can hit. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just hit
go.
the spacebar, Nathan.
There we go. It doesn't work. Not for VLC. Okay, it works this time. God, as if this wasn't going to be a popular episode anyway, but after that.
Oh, no. I find streams that start off
there it is.
hilarious.
There it is. I see like a little CGI. I own that ship, but
oh my.
What was it in the original? I think because they didn't.
It's my boy.
Did they not show it?
I want to draw Tails in a Spock costume.
You said you weren't joining me this episode.
I'm not, in any official capacity. Also, I don't know if I'll be joining you next week because, you know, I'll be at my parents watching their pugs. Because they need me till Sunday.
I'm actually wanting to get up right now on Memory Alpha. What was it? Because they didn't have any other Federation starships in TOS. I think, like... Well, I mean, I guess there's some shuttles and stuff, but, what was the Class J cargo ship in the original? Remastered? Wait, the remastered came out in 2008. I was that old when I watched TOS? Huh. Okay, Class J cargo ship. That's the one I know. I'm saying engaging commentary, but what do they look like? There's also one in the Menage a Way. Oh yeah, that's where Pike has his accident. Oh, it's the same ship. It looks like the same ship. Huh. I thought it was one of those ships that was really different in the original remastered. There aren't many of those, but there are a few. Boom, 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 ba-doom. To have a slightly more gendered intro than the TNG. That didn't line up. I'm usually really good at lining those up. There's a reason we're still using motifs on this theme. For the record, I'm never gonna do the screamy lady voice. That's what I always called her as a kid, you know, oh, because my voice doesn't go that high. It didn't go that high as a child, and it doesn't go that high now.
Do you need me to make a screaming voice?
Yeah, you can do it when, I think it's season 3, the woman starts screaming. The screaming lady.
Is that good? I don't want to clip your mic. I legitimately didn't want to ruin your mic. Because I can scream. There's nobody else home but us.
Wait. Did Sulu just say that's one of our lithium crystals, sir? Lithium. That's no wonder the ship's malfunctioning. The dilithium is the battery.
That's a short ass skirt.
You wanna come, man? Come get a pair of headphones. We've talked about this, Alex. Here he is. I can't believe you didn't want to watch. Did you forget that Mud was in this episode? Because it's literally called Mud's Women. Look at him. God. I haven't seen TOS Mud in so long. Did they... Is that neck hair prosthetic? Because it looks really weird. I like how there's a bit of dirt in one of those frames of the transporter they were flicking through, and so you can see the dirt just come on and off. That's why I do the remaster generally, is they could have cleaned that up. They probably should have, but they didn't. So you still get like the 60s production, but the spaceships aren't actually half invisible because of the green screen. That's really the reason I do it. This isn't the pretty lady music, is it? Star Trek has a little musical cue. I call it the pretty lady music. I think it's actually called Rose.
You're referring to, and you said that when we watched this episode the first time.
It's very difficult to Google, because I think it's called Rose. But even if you do it, it's real hard to find. But it was always how I know that a character is supposed to be like the super gorgeous, like everyone dazzled by them music.
They hadn't invented that yet. They didn't know it was going to be a theme.
I'm pretty sure they knew it was going to be a thing.
Awkward! Awkward!
Come on, Bones. You're bad enough. You're already the ship's racist.
Until you turn into Disco Bones.
Would you just admit that those women aren't the crew, they're the cargo to like your Federation starship? Look, we've got an hour. If I commented on every bit of sexism in this episode, I'm not gonna make it the hour. If they would have done, actually, there was a woman in that hallway scene right there. I would have loved it if she also was like looking at the women absolutely memorized. But I'm pretty sure she literally did the meme of like the guy looking at the girl behind him, and then the Starfleet officer's like, like. I should report this, but I'm gonna choose not to. Wait, whoa, no, go take a step back. He buys people? I thought these were willing. Did he actually, are these slaving wives? Like, that's a point that was missed on me this episode. Well, old school Trek is what it is. This is the worst one, yeah, but, you know. It is what it is, which is true, But I also don't think it should be totally dismissed. Like, you know, we should acknowledge the problems of the past, even if we can still enjoy these shows despite them. Oh, the deflector dish isn't red. That's weird. Look, I also Jack Sly, even in the 60s, I don't think it would have been acceptable to buy women to sell them later as wives. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that would be illegal. Jack Slaw, but as long as you're moving in the right direction, it's not a real problem. Uh, it in the it's still a problem until it's not. Like, even if you're trying to fix a problem, it's still a problem. Um, there's a slightly different, I suppose, when there's that time in between there. Like, I can't do anything to make 1966 better or worse or change it. But, I, yeah. I mean, how people deal with problematic things in old shows is very varied and ultimately probably pretty harmless, whatever you do, but, you know. This scene they're gonna get into is interesting, because there's the equivalent scene in Discovery, because what they're about to do is read off a list of Harry's crimes. And Discovery also has a scene, like 10 years before there, where they read off Harry's crimes. It's a very different list. In Discovery, it's like murder, I know there's murder. I don't remember the list exactly, but it's mostly like very serious crimes and a few random things like just general misdemeanors or whatever. But I'll wait till they read his list to get more into detail. But Harry Mudd is definitely like the only thing that holds this episode together. Like he's great as a character. Oh my god, Jackass and TOS? This is like the 4th ever episode produced. How has no one used this as ammunition against the like swearing in modern Star Trek argument? I know Rigel 12. They must go there a lot. There are a few. I used to like, on like the second watch through I did, I would go to Memory Alpha for the episode, and at the bottom they've got a list of like references, and I'd read those, and I'd realize just how connected a lot of the things are. It's really amazing. I would recommend it. It's kind of interesting that like he wouldn't know these things exist, actually, isn't it? But oh well. Maybe they're new. Is it really? I don't know if that was a lie. Okay, here we go. Smuggling, stolen goods. I would normally pause to read that. Counterfeit. See, yeah, look at this record. It's interesting because of, you know, the reason Harry works is, you know, he's got a very charming personality. Like, he's fun to watch. Yeah. But he's also a criminal. And in order for that to work in characters like him, you have, his crimes, they have to kind of be minimal and fairly harmless. And he also has to be bad at them. So, like, smuggling, selling stolen goods, counterfeit currency, you know, it's not murder. You haven't, like, beaten or assaulted someone, and they're bad. But because of the charm, and especially if they're recurring, like Harry Mudd, where he's often kind of, you know, he fails, or he's more, people see him as, like, a inconvenience, then he can work. Quark is very much the same. Quark's an awful person. Every now and then Quark will step over a line and you'll realize how, like, truly awful he is. But because he's mostly kind of a nuisance that the Odo probably benefits from having Quark more than not, you know, we can like him as a character. But in Discovery, it's like murder. Like, it's a bunch of awful stuff, but like, first off, why wouldn't that be here later in the timeline? But it kind of ruins the character for me, and he's no longer charming. He's like an absolutely ruthless criminal. But yeah, there's my Harry Mudd rant. Now you just have to wait a decade or so till we get to Discovery. You now want to watch Doctor Who? It's good. I mean, with Russell T Davies and all that, those folks coming back, it's gonna be great. I'm not talking about the punishment, Jack's Law. Like, I do like that his punishment was basically reform for the crimes that he did do. It's more the severity of the crimes really affects the character. Like, if Harry Mudd had 4 accounts of first-degree murder, I wouldn't like him as much. Oh, okay. I was trying to wonder how an experimental station wouldn't have had any men, like, especially in the 1960s, where most of those science-y roles and stuff would have been dominated by men. Of course, brushing over the whole fact that their motivation is to get a man, but... What do you think about Jodie? Do you think it upset you when they made the Doctor a woman? No. I don't particularly like the 13th Doctor because of the writing, but, not at all, no. Yeah, I'm not saying that, Harry Mudd isn't a bad person because his crimes are minor, or, like, passing the moral judgment, but it does make it a lot easier to accept a character for me, and I think in general, because I'm not the only person who wasn't the biggest fan of Harry Mudd in Discovery. I think most people do get over it, though. Like, everyone loves that time travel episode in Discovery. I don't particularly, because I don't like Mudd, but that's my point. Probably the best of season 1, though. Yeah, Jack Slaw, what you're saying is true, but I'm talking more like an audience right now from a meta perspective, as opposed to how Kirk would actually see Mudd as a criminal. I was about to say you could probably make a short trek out of like Mudd in charge of the Enterprise or something, but they did. They did make a Mudd-based short trek. It actually that does make sense. Never mind. I think Kirk just accidentally got orbital mechanics right, but he did. Wait, Jack Slaw, you think people see murder as less of a crime? Like, than counterfeit, or less than they used to? I mean, the justice systems usually don't. Usually murder is one of the highest sentences. But I would agree the gap between kind of how we see the lessest crimes and the worst crimes could probably do with being shortened. Yeah, that's a recurring thing, isn't it, as well, that Bones often thinks he can't trust himself with the female patients of the crew, and in fact doesn't in some episodes. That's another example. People really like Bones for the most part, but I am one of the minority that I think is decently sized. It's like Bones is a bit too much like no for me. He didn't age well, but oh my god, that line could only be made in the 60s, couldn't it? Excuse me, my dear, are you wearing something radioactive? Like, is as you do? You really do, Kurt. Did I play the Fallout games? 4. And I tried 3, but didn't get into it. See, this is why you should watch the remastered, is you can really see Kirk's eyeshadow in this scene. Yeah, I'd give that reaction to Kirk. Just like, what the heck was that? Just to set the record straight, they are taking a drug, but it's not like Orion's where there's pheromones or whatever. Like, all the drug does is make them beautiful. Is that a slight Russian accent? That would be nice, actually. If you have one of the like beautiful ladies be Russian during the Cold War, like there are bits of progressiveness, but it's an accent. I'm pretty sure it's not a real accent, but. Hey, they got his last name. It only took 2 episodes to make it a T. Yeah, she refused. Can he? Can Bones order a civilian? Probably with, if only if there was a reason, I would imagine. Like, I don't know, some sort of medical quarantine or whatever. I like this scene though. Spock, just like, yeah. Because doesn't he just go, at the end of this scene, he's like, yeah, forget about it. It's just completely dropped. Yeah, I don't know. I've just always liked how that scene ends. It's just like the weird conversation. It's like, I don't follow you. It's like, yeah, I don't either. Bam, hard cut. I don't know. I've always liked that one. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe there is something about the drug, or, like, I think that the episode's moral is kind of like, you don't... It's a weird moral. We'll have to wait to the end, but it's like... It's kind of supposed to be that you don't need to be beautiful, or like it's what's on the inside that counts, whatever. But it manages to tell that message while still requiring you to be physically beautiful. It's a very interesting message. And I think that's where the controversy, cause the controversy wasn't just, is this the most sexist episode? Some people disagreed with me that this was sexist, like full on. But, yeah. I think that's supposed to be Russian. I mean, I like her character, the pink one. I want to make a Powerpuff Girls. Blossom? Who is the pink Powerpuff Girl?
That was Blossom.
Yeah.
Blossom's
Buttercup
pink,
and Bubbles.
Bubbles is blue, Buttercup is green.
Yeah, I like Blossom. The joke would have worked better if I remembered, but, yeah, because she was, like, never really into this. And, yeah. It's interesting. We'll have to wait till the end. I stopped watching Doctor Who when they changed him to her. It's not a great era, just because of the writing. There's a few good episodes. No. I'm waiting for like most people. I want Jodie to go to Big Finish and see what she's actually like when you write her well. I've just remembered that it's not that the drug makes you beautiful. It's that the drug enhances what you already have, right? So that it makes women beautiful, but men handsome or strong or something. It's... yeah, oof. They haven't invented the New World economy yet. Like, even just accepting... But you've agreed. Even just accepting that, like, they could blackmail this, surely they know that this slavery is illegal, and, like, the Federation would come back later and be like, hey, you're under arrest for slavery and arguably rape. I mean, I'll have to look at the letter of the law, but, you got some serious crimes here. Harboring a fugitive, threatening, Starship protection. I don't know what the crime would be, but surely blackmail. Well, no, that's the crime. Blackmail. Well, I'll make sure Mr. Sulu spirals onto your colony, then. Mr. Sulu, the miners are no longer allowed to leave the ship. They're going to be on this ship until either we get the crystals or we crash into the planet. Oh, look at that. I've solved the episode. You might say they can't. Well, yeah, no, they can hold them. You're under arrest for blackmail. Bam. Conspiracy? Did they conspire when they met with Harry Mudd? Blackmail is strange. I'm almost scared to look up how that term comes from. I used to know where. And I think it has to... I don't think it's racist. I think it has to do with the fact that there used to actually be a black envelope for that kind of mail. I'm going to look this up, actually, because I think it was interesting. I'm completely wrong. Really? The black is thought to be a play on white money, the term for silver coins in which tenant farmers traditionally paid their legitimate rent. That makes sense. So it's black because it's the opposite of silver. I looked up, what have I missed? They're all suddenly making out and dancing. Model Federation citizens. I know they haven't invented the Federation yet, but still. I think the Federation's super late. Isn't it season 3? It's the one with Spock's dad. I should know. Or is it the children shall lead? I don't remember. Oh, that's reminded me of another episode that didn't age well in a totally different way. I watched this one with Alex in 2020. And it's an episode in which Kirk has to convince a group of miners to wear a mask. And the miners don't want to... They refuse to wear the mask because they don't think something invisible could hurt them. They don't believe there's a problem. There's like some bad gas in the mines or whatever. And the government doesn't want to wear the mask... won't like make them wear the mask because they don't believe the problem exists in the first place. It's like, oh god, that one didn't age well and was not a good one to watch during COVID. Probably because it aged spectacularly. It was just like, yeah, everyone who's denying COVID is in this episode. And it's literally Kirk trying to get them to wear a mask. And I think they even, like, steal Kirk's mask and breaks it, so then he gets infected. Oh, it's... We just spent the whole time watching that, like, oh. Oh. It's, the Cloud City episode, in case you're curious. I don't remember the name, but... It might be called the Cloud City. Always ionized. Am I wrong, or is the upper atmosphere always ionized? I don't quite... God, I'm gonna be so upset if it took me, like, 10 years to realize. Because it gets bombarded by ionizing rays all the time. Oh, no, no. They're mostly neutral. Alright. I like how this shelter, though, is simultaneously a cave they've dug and has a perfectly square door. Like, it's that door would have been machined to perfection. I think maybe I just have a door on the inside or something, but... Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, man, they've had a episode where they're gonna just crash to the planet when their power runs out in orbit, and I forgot to mention how that's not how orbits work. What? I wonder if it's because this was 66, right? So we might have sent we would have sent some things to the moon, but most like missions and satellites would have been very low Earth orbit and did not last long because they were still they're practically in the atmosphere. They wouldn't even be in space. So I wonder if that idea that like as soon as you lose power you crash comes from the fact that it was kind of true. Like if you didn't maintain your orbit in the 60s, it would have just fallen down because they were practically still in the app. I think officially, like, I don't think Sputnik officially made it to space by our modern definitions. Even the ISS, like, the International Space Station, would crash to the ground, Earth in a few months if we didn't maintain it. Halfway down the galaxy, it never changes, but give it 50 years and it changes quite a bit suddenly. I like her character. I will say that. I forgot one of the women was really good. I mean, the others are fine characters in the sense that they add to the message of, like, you know, they're examples of people who are way too invested in the drug or beauty or kind of, like, lost whatever. They're the extreme, but, I've been over the problematic messages, whatever. Yeah. God. This episode. I like that this episode is in the first three, though, because it really is, like, if you can get past this one, you'll get through the whole series. But if, like, you stop 10 minutes into this one, maybe you should give it a pass. it's not only is it a problematic explanation, but like in the story, these women don't have beauty, so surely it would give them ugliness if we want to go this route. But oh my god, there's so much to unpack with that line. He's a fraud, they can get out of it. Does that imply they couldn't get out of it if he wasn't a fraud? Look, I think we're all in agreement. This episode is bad. And not just in the fact that it's not like a well-made episode. Like it's mechanically bad. It's like ethically bad. I know what she's going for, but who does want a wife to cry? Like, that would be interesting. I want a wife to be able to cry, but that one was worded a bit weird. Which is a great mess. If the episode kind of ended there, it would have had, you know, some problematic things inherited from the 60s, about like some systemic problems, but it would have had a good message, right? The problem is that, no, believing in yourself doesn't literally physically change you. Like, yes, self-confidence, it will make you'll be perceived more positively, potentially even more attractive with self-confidence if you believe in yourself, but it won't do your hair and makeup, and it won't clean your skin, which was very dirty. Like, I think they're maybe going for more symbolic, like, she hasn't actually changed, we're just seeing her as better, but if it was going that, then I feel like maybe we should have hit some middle ground where, like, I don't know, it doesn't work for me, like... Look at that door handle. I love this door, it just doesn't make sense. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, baby. Hi, comment. Hey. Yeah, let's forget about that line. Yeah, that was a bit racist, but I'll let it slide. Spock gets a lot. Scotty up on the bridge for the camera shot. And there we go. Yeah. Somehow, it was worse than I remember. Yeah. Let's just stop. I know it's a crime because this music is great, but, yeah. That wasn't good. I think I just talked a lot about why that wasn't good. Most episodes, not most episodes, like a lot of TOS episodes, you know, have something that's like, ooh, that didn't age well, you know, but that one just was like, the morals were outdated. That was mountains upon mountains of like, even to me, I know that like 50 years ago, this would have been acceptable. Like 30 years ago, some of this might have been fine. But, like, not even systemic problems, just like the individual viewpoint some of these people have. Like, the fact that society can be built like that is literally unfathomable to me. I cannot imagine it. Which isn't good for Star Trek. I mean, it's not really good in anything. Maybe if you're, like, directly covering something like the civil rights movement in America. Yeah, it would be good if I literally cannot fathom how broken the society is. But this wasn't doing that. And I know, like, if you want to try and defend it, you could say, well, they don't have the Federation yet. They don't have the Utopia yet. This is a Starfleet that has war and conflict. This is United Earth. But Gene Roddenberry still had his ideals that the show's founded on and later got. You know, that's how we got the Federation and stuff like that. And I know Gene Roddenberry's not a saint. In as much as I think he seems to have a lot of the correct, like, you know, the more liberal or accepting viewpoints to women, he was very bad at acting on them. Very bad. First putting it in the show, and then, like, some little tidbits I hear from the real world. But, yeah, he was bad at it. But the point is, the Federation doesn't exist, and we're not as utopian, so it's okay for the show to be non-utopian. That's not the point. Like, it might make perfect sense for the show, but the ethical problems are still there. And yeah, I engage in some, well, let's make this work. Let's make this real world problem work in canon. You know, I do stuff like this, like, how can I get this to work? But I think it's also very important to acknowledge the actual society this came from, the problems that still exist, like the root problems, like sexism in this case. You know, there are still plenty of problems that actually do exist, even though plenty of them we have overcome. The fact that this episode is so bad is evidence that we've overcome a lot of them. But some things are more important in Star Trek, and you have to go, like, yeah, this is made, you always have to go, yeah, this was made incredibly sexist in a sexist time where even a lot of the views now that I would call sexist wouldn't necessarily have been seen as sexist. I think someone in the Buffer Time podcast I was in like a week or two ago put it great where it, what were we talking about? Spock's brain? Or aging? I don't remember which one it was, but like, it was still putting forth the idea, it was Spock's brain, it was putting forth that idea that evolution or God or whatever has given females some sort of unfair advantage or beauty over men, and they should exploit that for equality, essentially, which is no. I suppose it's better than a incredibly sexist divided society, because at least you're gaining a lot of equality. But no, like, that isn't the end. That is a slightly better stage than you were in previously. And I kind of see a lot of these problematic things in TOS as the people in that sort of, we'll call it the starting point, not realizing what they were imagining is the ideal or equality actually wasn't. And then eventually we got there and we're like, oh, this still isn't good. We've got work to do. Maybe that's naive. Maybe that's oversimplification. But as I said, it's hard when I literally cannot fathom the society that produced this. But yeah, that was Mud's Women. Next week we've got The Enemy Within. I am certain Alex will join. Well, I'm not going to commit to that. I am very confident Alex will join for Dog in a Dog Suit. If you don't know Dog in a Dog Suit, then be prepared for Dog in a Dog Suit. I think we've also got Hand Puppet Flower, a fan favorite. And what the episode is actually about, Evil Kirk in Good Kirk. But Alex remembers it for Dog in a Dog Suit. So yes, thank you for watching, and I will see you next